Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Josh's Car Corner. Today I'm in Chicago for the 2012 Chicago Auto Show. There's a lot of cool cars here today. I'm really anxious to check them out, and I figured as long as I was coming along, I'd bring the cameras along and get some video and give you guys some of my impressions of some of the new vehicles that are out there this year. It looks like there's going to be a lot of cool stuff, especially from the American brands, which I am really excited about because it's good to see American cars coming back. So I'll take you along with me and we'll look at some new cars and hopefully you like it. Okay, so right now I'm in the Chevy section of the car show. Chevy's always good at bringing out prototypes and examples of what their engines look like. This is the 1.4 Ecotec turbo motor you find in the Chevy Cruze, and I think it's also going to be in the Chevy Sonic. It's cool because they cut away all kinds of sections of it so you can see the inner workings of the driveline, the camshafts, how the valves go up and down and all that stuff. And I always find that very interesting, and I'm glad Chevy does that. They're one of the few makes who actually comes out and let you see the inner workings of what the engine looks like. Chevy's got a lot of concepts here this year, and concepts are all well and good, but I'm always more interested in the things that I can go out and buy right now. So behind us, there's some of the new Chevy Sonics and the Chevy Aveo. They've also got some ZL1s back here. They've got the new convertible back there. That's also going to come in a ZL1 trim. I'm not sure how good that's going to be because that's a lot of power to put through a car without a roof. But they're also going to have the hardtops over there too, and they look pretty cool as well. Here's a car that I'm really interested in. This is the new Buick Regal GS for this year. The Regal's been out for about 2 years now, and you can get it in normally aspirated and turbocharged 4-cylinder versions, but what makes this one really special is they kicked up the boost, so now it makes 270 horsepower, and it's also going to be the first Buick in a long time to have a 6-speed manual gearbox, or any kind of manual gearbox for that matter. Now this car is also made in Europe and sold as the Opel Insignia. Over here it's badged as a Buick. Now over in Europe you can also get this with a turbocharged 6-cylinder engine and all-wheel drive. We're not going to get any of that. Buick decided it wasn't worth it and it would make the car too heavy, and they're trying to meet emission standards. This, they say, will get 26 miles to the gallon on the highway, which seems pretty reasonable considering the size of the car and that it's only front-wheel drive, and a 6-speed is always better for fuel economy than most automatics. But it's a really cool car. It's got really racy look inside to it, but still luxurious. It's got ruched leather on the seats. It's got leather all over the place. It looks like it's pretty well put together. I don't see any of that chintzy plastic of GMs of old, so it looks like they've definitely gotten away from that. It's got a nice sunroof and these huge 20-inch wheels. Yeah, that's pretty big. But it's a pretty cool looking car, and they probably won't sell a ton of them, but I just think it's really cool because it's an actual sporty car that can actually be luxurious and be a good little GT cruiser. So even though it's front-wheel drive, I think it's a step in the right direction. Hey, welcome to Australia, or as close as we're going to get to it anymore anyway. This is the last of the Holden Commodore that we're going to get for a while. This is the Chevrolet Caprice PPV, and I only bring it up because I'm a huge fan of Holden and I love them to death. Now this is the long wheelbase version of it. It's a foot longer than a traditional G8 would have been, just to accommodate more room in the back for perps and guns and whatnot. It's got a version of the LS or L76 engine in it, 362 horsepower. It's got a specially designed suspension and tires specifically for police duty, and obviously it's got the bull bar on the front, all kinds of LED lights and sirens on the side. They specifically designed the center console stack so there'd be room to mount a laptop and all kinds of communications equipment and everything an officer needs to get his day-to-day job done. It's got the cage in the back too to keep you away from the perps. It's laid out really nice, and from what I've heard from on the internet, especially cops who have test driven this car, they've really liked it. I think it's going to work well for them. If it handles anything like the G8, it's going to be a great thing. And I've actually gotten a chance to see the inside of one, not drive one, but when we were down at the Pontiac convention in July, there was a gentleman who had a detective version of the Police PPV, so it's completely unmarked and it doesn't have anything on it, but we got to see that and drive it, and he said he has a G8 at home and he says this was faster than his G8. So maybe there's a couple of little secrets under the hood for police duty, but it's a cool car, and look out for a mini rearview mirror. Now here's something that's interesting. When I first walked up, I looked at it and thought, oh, that's a CTS. Well, it's not. It's called an ATS. Apparently, Cadillac says this is a more compact car than the CTS. It looks about the same size to me, but they're talking about how it's full of lightweight technology. So it's got lots of aluminum in it, and it's got the 3.6, which is all aluminum, and lots of lightweight components. And it looks like you can get it with a manual, and this one says 4, so it looks like it's also going to be 4-wheel drive. But they're talking about how lightweight components and weight saving. This is a more compact car and an entry level, kind of a Maybe it's kind of a 3 Series fighter or something. Maybe it is a bit smaller. I guess I'd have to see it side by side next to a CTS, but to me it looks kind of like it's the same, but I don't know. It's a good looking car. The wheels do look a bit smaller. Somehow they look disproportionate to the rest of the car, kind of like the 5 Series looked when it first came out a few years ago. Interesting car. Here's a pretty evil car, the new BMW M5. This one's different from the previous generation in that they have ditched the V10 and they've switched down to a twin-turbo V8. It's less displacement, but it also kicks out 550 horsepower, so it's more than the old V10, and it's about 500 foot-pounds of torque from what I remember. So it's going to be a very, very powerful car. The cool thing about it is the turbo setup, because everything is reversed. Normally the exhaust flow would go to the outside of the engine. Here the exhaust goes into the V, and the incoming air comes from the outside. That means the turbos sit in the middle of the V, and because they do that, they can get equal exhaust pulses and even exhaust pulses to both the turbos, because no V8 engine, unless it's a flat plane like a Ferrari, has even firing. So you always have one, on a twin turbo, you would always have one turbo that's surging and one that's not getting the same amount of pulses, so it would be a little bit uneven. This allows them to even it out and get good balance, and then it cuts down on the surging and the turbo lag and makes it run a lot better. It's a complicated setup, but it's also really cool, and from what I understand, this is a lot less high-strung than the V10, where you usually had to wind it up pretty good to get a lot of power out of it. This one, you got power all the way, probably from about 3 grand up, because you've got the twin turbos, and that's always going to give you a lot more torque. So very cool car, and I can't wait to see it on the road. Okay, I'm in the Dodge section now, and I found this little cubby hole where I can get away from everybody because I was getting tired of people walking around in front of me, because I want to make sure that this gets through. I've been walking around the Dodge section for the last 10-15 minutes snapping pictures of cars, and I've got to say, Dodge doesn't get it. It is 2012, and I've only seen one showing of fuel economy anywhere, and it's on a silver V6 Charger. It's the only V6 Charger here, and it says on the thing 31 miles per gallon. You won't find anywhere else it's saying anything about fuel economy or saving gas or saving money. Everything is about the Hemis. It's all V8s, it's all SRT. All front, all they got is the V8 Challengers, the V8 Challengers, and it's just Charger after Charger after Challenger after everything is just a V8 after 300C. And then for the Jeeps, they've got the Jeeps driving around on their off-road obstacle course, which they've been doing since I've been coming here in '07, and it's completely unoriginal. Now they've got the Dodge Ram pickups doing it. Now they've got their own little endurance course. Ooh, look at this. Our trucks can climb hills. Our trucks can go over bumps. Our trucks can drive through dirt. Our trucks can carry barrels full of oil. It's completely unoriginal, and they just don't get it. Now they've got this new car, the Dart, which I assume is going to replace the Avenger, because there's only one Avenger out there. The Dart is completely uninspired. First of all, it's a Fiat that's just rebodied to look like a Dodge, and then they put the rear light bar across the back to make it look like a Charger and a Challenger, like that somehow makes it American and makes it fast and sporty in a Dodge, and it doesn't. It doesn't look right at all. They've got a couple of Caravans like they always do, and of course they're hideous. I just don't understand what they're thinking. I mean, this isn't what people want anymore. It's 2012. You've got to offer them something more than V8s and heavy cars and good looks. I mean, I'm not going to deny that the Dodges don't look good. They do. They look really good. The Charger looks good. The Challenger looks good. But you got to give people more than just looks. You got to have some substance underneath, and it just isn't there. I'm just not seeing it. So Dodge has got a lot of work to do if they're going to be around in 5 years. They've already had to cut Ram loose, and they have no ideas on Ram because they've got them driving around on an obstacle course. So I don't know. I hope they get their act straight. I don't know if you were assuming it was going to be all bells and whistles, but I'm sorry. When it comes to Dodge, I'm not seeing anything good. Sorry, I thought I was done with Dodge, but then I walked over here. So they've got this little runway set up, and they're taking people from 0 to 30 and then back to 0. What does that prove? What is that doing? They act like that's all that people are interested in. You can't just speed up and stop really quick and expect me to be impressed. You got to show that the car can corner, that it can handle, that it can ride comfortably. This is not teaching anybody anything. Watch, here goes the 300C. I think this is just a bone stock one. 2, 3, 3 seconds, and they're done. What does that prove? Oh my God. Hey, speaking of companies that got things figured out styling-wise, you got to put Volkswagen right up there too. There is not a minger in the bunch. I mean, the Jetta, the Passat, the Tiguan, the CC, the GTI, the new Beetle, the new 2.0 Beetle looks fantastic. Everything that Volkswagen makes now looks great, and everything in the fleet can be had with a TDI now. The Tiguan's come out this year, the new Passat's out, the Jetta, they can all be had with the 2-liter TDI motor, and they're all getting high 30s, low 40s to the gallon. And I'll tell you from experience of owning a TDI, those are conservative estimates. You drive it right, you can get north of 45, maybe even touch 50, but it's all in how you drive it. So if you're looking for something fuel efficient, you don't always have to go get a hybrid, you don't have to get a Leaf, you don't have to get some other crazy setup that's got 2 stages, electric and gas, you don't have to get a Prius. You can get great mileage and have a practical car that's easy to maintain and will last a very, very long time. Diesels are hard to kill. So VW, great way to go.
I don't know if they can tell. That's right.
Well, I'm in the Subaru section right now, and I was just passing through and nothing was really catching my eye. I mean, Subarus are cool, they're reliable, they're all-wheel drive. But then they've got something up on the deck called the BRZ, and I forgot about this car. I heard about it, but it's very interesting now that I'm getting into reading it. It's going to be just like the Toyota GT86. In fact, I think it's going to be a GT86 fighter. It's rear-wheel drive, 200 horsepower, limited slip differential, small lightweight coupe. It actually looks really good. I'm actually really impressed. I thought it would be 4-wheel drive, but it's only 2-wheel drive. But the fact that it's rear-wheel drive is awesome, and it's a definite change away from front-wheel drive boxes and hatchbacks, which Subaru's great at. But of course, all theirs are 4-wheel drive. But it's cool to see that refreshing change of pace. But it's still a boxer motor. And as anybody will tell you, boxer motors have got a lot of power and a lot of things to shout about. They're good motors.
That's right.
So that I thought was pretty cool, and I can't wait to see them on the road.
And sometimes in March or
Okay, I'm in the Ford section now, and this is a section I'm really excited to get into because Ford, I think, has really stepped it up in terms of design and engineering. Just about everything they make now is a fantastic looking car. I don't think they have a bad looking one in the bunch. I mean, even the small ones like the Fiesta and the Focus just look great. And of course, you got the Mustang, which looks fantastic. The Taurus, the SHO looks really good. They just came out with the new Fusion this year, which is fantastic. It looks like an Aston Martin in the front. It's a really cool car. Even the F-150 is okay if you trim it out right. The Raptor's cool. But even in terms of engineering, with the EcoBoost technology, I think it's really showing some promise, especially in the small cars. You get really good mileage, and you can still run gas. I mean, I prefer diesel, but it's clear they're not going to go the diesel direction. They're going to leave that to Europe, and they're going to stick with gas engines here. But the EcoBoost technology is showing, to me anyway, that you can get decent fuel economy without having to go to a diesel engine. So it's a good step in the right direction, and I think Ford is really leading the way in terms of what American cars can be. Lots of different variations of the Mustang too, which I think are great. I mean, you've got the Boss 302, the new Shelby GT500, which I do think is a bit overpowered. I mean, 650 horsepower is a little much for a Mustang. It's a little much for any car, really, because you're never going to be able to use it all. But it appeals to somebody, so I'm sure they'll sell a bunch. But the cars are great. At some point this year, I'm going to test drive for sure want to try to test drive a Focus and test drive a Mustang and do a video shoot on those, so hopefully that works out. But overall, I think Ford is really doing a nice job here, and I'm really impressed. So the question is there enough ceiling that someone like me can stand in there? Yep. This is the Nissan MV-2500, and I thought this would be a good place to wrap everything up for the day. This is Nissan's venture into commercial vehicles, and it's pretty cool. I guess they're kind of going after the Sprinter with the way you can get them in different configurations, because I'm seeing them tall and short, long and short, boxy, 12-seaters, no dualies, not anything heavy duty, at least not yet that I can see, but they're giving it a try, so more power to them. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I've enjoyed it. It's been a really good day out here at at the Chicago Auto Show. I almost said Road America. They've got a little display set up over there, and I'm going to be there in April, so it was on my mind. Sorry about that, but anyway, it's been fun. Hope you guys enjoy it. The next thing you'll see me making is I've gotten some requests to make a video of how to disable the 1.4 skip shift on the GTO. So I'll get that done, and I'll get that up as soon as I can. Keep looking for it, and I'll talk to you guys later. Hey guys, welcome to an all-new episode of Josh's Car Corner. Today I'm at the Chicago Auto Show for the 2012 Chicago... Really? They've got something out on the deck called the BRZ, and I forgot about this car. I heard about it.
You have the BRZ. Now, it's powered by a 2-liter